Piers Morgan has often gone too far, and many people think he's one of the most controversial TV personalities in Britain. He speaks his mind and doesn't think about how it would affect anyone else. And trust me, he has had some big controversies throughout his career. People all over the world were pretty happy when the British broadcaster stormed off the set of his morning show live on air. As it turned out, he's gone for good. Yeah! Why do you think I'm happy about this? Because he's a really bad dude. He's done some horrible things. He took a jab at Madonna. The audacity! A lot of people have called out the broadcaster for the sexist things he said on the most recent episode of his talk TV show, Piers Morgan Uncensored. He used to be the editor of the News of the World, but since fallen from grace because he tended to speak his mind, which is pretty horrible, if you ask us. He made some nasty comments about the iconic singer Madonna, just as she announced the dates of a world tour. After seeing the promotional video for the Globe Tour, he told the co-host that he thinks she's become the most hideous, train wreck humiliation in the history of international entertainment. He went one step further and called her a sex kitten in her 60s. His comments got a lot of backlash everywhere. People were outraged. They called him out on being ageist and sexist. Unfortunately, this wasn't the first time he did something like this. He's made super sexist comments before. He's been co-hosting his morning show with Susanna Reid since 2015. He's often said that he's like Marmite, which means that people either love him or hate him. Honestly, I think more people hate him, but that's just my opinion. He was accused of making rude and comments about how the weather reporter, Laura Tobin, dressed on the show back in 2020.
Weather, and that is an Indian.
So we had a bit of cold weather 2 weeks ago, and now we got a big hot weather.
This was one of many times his provocative comments made the news. He wanted to talk about her leather pants and referred to them as hot pants. He remarked that she did it so that the audience would go crazy as the female weathercaster walks around in tight leather pants. That's disgusting.
Okay,
right,
there's a clicker. Good luck. I'm not going to tell you any of the buttons.
Here's the weather
There's no auto cue.
Even after getting a ton of backlash, he didn't feel the need to apologize and said that it was all the weatherwoman's fault, claiming that she wore them on purpose to get people's attention, just like everyone else who dresses provocatively. But he's done even worse things in the past. He posted fake torture pictures one time. I mean, he's pretty mad. He was the editor of a British tabloid for 8.5 years before he switched to TV. In 2004, he was fired after the front page of a newspaper showed photos that were said to show members of the Queen's Regiment torturing prisoners of war in Iraq. The newspaper got the photos and posted them as an exclusive, but they turned out to be fake, which led to a retraction on the front page and his eventual firing. In a 2013 interview, he talked about the incident and said that he was fired because he wouldn't apologize in person.
That one?
No, not that button. No, not as easy as it looks, is it?
Talk us through that.
It's going to be hot.
It's not going to be hot.
Cloudy in the south, brighter in the north, cooler.
To this day, he claims that those images weren't fake, as there's no proof to support that. No one ever found out who took the pictures, which was pretty suspicious too. He even lost a show because of his antics. His famous podcast took the place of Larry King on CNN's evening scheduling when he moved to the United States in 2011. After 3 years of mostly bad reviews and many scandals that got a lot of attention, the show was finally canceled because of low ratings in 2014. He wasn't an American, and he had strong views on gun control, which led to heated arguments on air. This made it hard for him to connect with his target audience, and most people stopped listening to him. Well, it was about time. After the show was canceled, he thought that the reason behind the cancellation was that Americans are racist, and as he's British, they don't want to listen to him. Of course, people started to hate him even more. By this time, he had estranged 2 of his demographic audiences, one being the British and the other the Americans. But then, he decided to go after another race. He mocked the Chinese people. He was criticized on social media again last year for trying to talk in a super stereotypical Chinese accent on live television. The guy doesn't know when to quit. The host was making a joke about when the late Queen's nephew made fun of the Chinese language in a TV ad for milk. He was accused of exploiting his royal status. He mocked their accent. and made up a scenario where a Chinese guest at an event would ask for Yang Yang Yong Ying Ming milk. Then, as the commercial started again, he said, "Okay then, ching chang chong, okay I get it." His co-host sorta called him out on his comments, saying that they were a thing of the past and shouldn't be done now. But as always, Morgan didn't stop talking and said that he could make fun of them as much as he can. In his defense, he tweeted that he wasn't making fun of the Chinese, he was just criticizing a member of the British royal family for being in an ad for Chinese state milk. His controversial opinions have always got him into trouble. He was called out for telling men to man up. Back in 2017, there was a shift in television. People were finally talking about mental health openly and were eager to discuss their issues. During Mental Health Awareness Week, he questioned the accuracy of statistics about mental illness and criticized the masculine public soul-bearing. Again, his fans called him mean and medieval. Men's mental health is important too. Even Piers, who rarely says sorry, admitted he was wrong in this case. He criticized the singer Ariana Grande pretty harshly for not going to see the people who were hurt in the suicide bombing at her concert in 2017. He called her misguided after she came to the city to visit the victims and organize the One Love benefit concert. He couldn't help but remind his Twitter followers that he's very rarely wrong, while sincerely congratulating Grande on a magnificent night. So it's still not clear if he believes men's mental health should be looked after or not, but we know that he doesn't have the sanest opinions. Here's another example of his extremism. He made some super horrible comments on the Women's March. As the 2017 Women's March, Madonna called the masses to bomb the White House. This caused a stir, and he didn't like what she said. He did what he does best and went on a long rant about how inappropriate her comments were. He didn't even back down when Susanna Reid put him down more than once. He finally got the message when Ewan McGregor refused to be interviewed on his morning show if he was there. A few days later, he was booed by everyone at the National Television Awards while wearing a gag. He was always in trouble when he was the editor of newspapers in the 1990s and early 2000s. Even though his time at the top is known for his phone hacking scandal, he was fired for something else. He denied it, but investigations have shown that several things happened while he was editor, especially at the Mirror. Overall, even though he's been a family name and used to have a place in the hearts and homes of many people, his comments and weird opinions have made him quite unpopular. He's turned himself into a mustache-twirling British villain. This is all we have on the most controversial moments from Piers Morgan's career. Which one did you think was the worst? See ya in the next one.